I go to now and I say, how can I improve my active listening skills in this scenario? Or I pack a giant question. How would you position blank to the plant manager of a chemical refinery in Deer Park, Texas, who has a high D behavioral style? The more you pack, the
That's
more
it.
your invisible sales manager will give you the answer. Now, that answer is custom tailored to a person's wiring, behavioral style, motivation, title, and how you connect those dots is nothing less than brilliance.
Right.
But it's just taking a step further down that road. You know, you keep mentioning health in the gym. The person who has 3 more reps in their workout, the person who does 3 more push-ups, 2 more sit-ups, that's all it takes. It doesn't take you to go out there and start bench pressing 400 pounds.
Welcome to the Sharpen the Spear podcast, where we help home service pros cut through the noise, sharpen their business tools, and reclaim the profit, freedom, and impact they've been missing. I'm your host, Richard Walsh, Profit Freedom Coach, and I'm here to help you stop grinding and start growing. Let's sharpen the spear. And we are back on STS Sharpen the Spear podcast with another incredible guest. They just keep coming. I got Curt Tueffert with us today, and I'm looking forward to this conversation. We had to work a little bit to make this happen, and it's really good because that always just makes it that much sweeter when we get to it, right? So, Curt, as we always do, no one knows Curt like Curt. So, Curt, give us the backstory, bring us up to speed, then we're going to knock out an awesome conversation.
I appreciate that, Richard. Hey, for all the viewers and listeners, Curt Tueffert, gosh, I have a lot of different things to add to the mix, but let me just say that I had the opportunity to be a VP of sales development for a $2 billion industrial distributor. I have my own sales coaching teaching business. I'm a professor at the University of Houston, where I teach both sales and a new marketing strategies class. Gosh, recently married. It'll be my 5th year coming up in November. Love scuba diving, and summer is upon us. Richard, take it away from there.
Yeah, I love scuba diving too. I got a lot of dives under my belt. I love it. Yeah, Curt, it's really great to have you on there because sales is one of those things, and you are a seasoned expert, okay? And the beautiful thing about sales is you're kind of never done learning. You're always perfecting. I'm pretty good at sales. I've got 35 years doing the stuff, but I tell you what, I'm always picking up something new, and that's why I want you on here. We're going to talk we're going to cover some high view stuff, kind of the whole gamut, but I know people are going to pull a lot of nuggets out of this, so definitely have your note takers ready, if you will, right, everybody? And we are going to get some great stuff. So, Curt, let's begin. Let's just start in a real simple way. Give us your kind of your overlaying philosophy on sales, like just to you. What is it to you?
Sure. I think my overlaying philosophy on sales, Richard, is the ability and the art of creating a conversation and a place where you can ask powerful open-ended questions to determine if the person you're talking to needs, wants, or desires what you have to sell them. If they don't, then a good sales pro leaves the conversation, maybe flips it to their personal life, and just builds a nice relationship. It's the amateurs who continue to hound somebody who doesn't want, need, or desire that product or service at that moment in time, and they just leave it with a bad taste in their mouth. I would rather say, this is probably not a fit for you right now. Tell me a little bit about what you are and who you are. And the next thing I know, I kind of have a conversation. We can always come back later if it's a product or service to the ideal customer profile. Eventually, there'll be another opportunity to have that conversation.
See, we are out of the gate really strong already, okay? Because that is exactly how you should be approaching sales. I love the R word, relationship. Okay, this is where great sales happen. This is to me, it's a goal, and I've learned this. It took a long time. I never thought of it, I never put it in perspective. I just learned that's what I did. My most effective sales were because I built relationships. And guess what? Guess how you don't build a relationship in the first 5 minutes, okay? Relationships take time to develop and build, right? So sometimes, and I want you to give me some feedback on this, I think a lot of people don't understand the sales cycle, right? Like it's, there's the stats where like 3% of all buyers will buy now, 97% are not going to buy now. So where does that take us?
You talked about the sales cycle, and boy, I've spent half of my sales career perfecting, researching, using sales processes. And now I've flipped it. I'm more curious on what's the buying process of my customer or my client, my member or my customer? What is it that they go through? What's the matrix? What's the steps they go through to make a decision on if they want to purchase something? Once I understand their buying process, well, I can shoehorn together a sales process. And therein lies the challenge. We get so beat up by our sales managers to buy that CRM and to walk them through the process and 50% close rate and funnel matrix and and we never take the time to go, okay, how do you guys go through the process of evaluating vendors for something like this? Boy, that could unlock a complete new door of helping them move through their process, not forcing them through our process.
Yeah, I love that, Curt, because as part of marketing too, so you got sales, marketing is also what I see, and I'm working with small businesses, trade, service industries, stuff like that, where they're always speaking at the customer. Okay, they're even speaking their own, technical language, right? They're talking plumbing speak. It's like to a person who only knows you turn the faucet and the water comes out. Okay, they're talking speak. So it's like it's that customer viewpoint, like you just described. I really love that. Like, what is their buying process? That's a huge takeaway. It really is, because man, now you can tailor your message.
Exactly. And you mentioned marketing, and there is a wonderful element where marketing can be part of the education process. Really let's say, Richard, let's just take you. You're doing a million things during the day. You don't wake up in the morning going, if only Curt could call me to sell me a product I don't need and waste 45 minutes of my day, man, that would just really make my Friday afternoon. Rather, if I could find a salesperson who could educate me, knows my business, knows the gaps I'm trying to fill, and says, hey, look, here's what I've been learning from these other people in businesses like yours. I'd like to share with you a little bit of that discovery. Well, I would be much more inclined to listen to somebody educate me than to pitch me on something I don't need. Pitching is what professional baseball players do, but we actually educate and consult based on a whole variety of open-ended questions.
Yeah, I love it, and it is just that, and you added a critical element that make sure no one missed was there's a third-party validation you said in there. These other businesses, what they found. I'm like, that's because now it takes up you. This is proven. These are other people. They figured this stuff out. Let me share that with you, because you're probably not out talking to other businesses like I do, right? So I think that's a really good element.
Exactly. You think about your viewers and your listeners right now. They're either business owners or leaders, or they're in the sales game or the marketing game. They know their product and service. They know their market. They know the trends. And it's just a process of needs, wants, and whys. What does the customer need? What does the customer really want? And then why is it that they want that? It's not the feature that we're trying to sell, it's the benefit. This is what this product will do. This is what this service will do. It'll increase your productivity, decrease your costs, give you your time back, or whatever it would be. That's what we're trying to articulate.
Yeah, I always tell them, I go, no one cares how many BTUs the thing puts out. Okay, it's like, am I going to be comfortable and warm with my family on the couch when it's 40 degrees below zero here in Wisconsin? That's what I need to know. Okay, just answer that question. You don't have to go into. I want to hear that thing fire up, and we'll be comfortable. I'm not wearing 3 sweaters. Okay, that's what I want to know. So yeah, you take it that way. These are, and you know what? It's what's really great over all this time too, Curt, and just like you've experienced as well. But you'll say these things, and it's sometimes when you say it, the light bulb goes off. It's like, and then it's all of a sudden, well, isn't that, you think it's obvious. Like, wouldn't it be obvious? But no one does it. It's one of those things. I wrote my book because they're all doing the same wrong things. I go, well, or as I like to say, from my standpoint, oh, they're doing all the right, wrong things. It's perfect.
Excellent. Richard, I love your play on words. They're doing all the right, wrong things. And they're doing them with consistency and passion.
I can fix that again and again and again. I love it. Like, it's stepping up to the slow pitch. You know what I mean? It's good. Yeah. So let's move on here, Curt. Let's kind of go into so we kind of took care of your, the whole sales process, not the whole sales process, but kind of looking at it from a customer vantage point, right? With that, and I like what you said about, you kind of got the what, kind of the why. The why is the big deal, right? Really, why does someone want it? Because we can go up. I used to tell people all the time, I own gyms, I'm into fitness and all this kind of stuff. And I said, if I've got this great product, it helps you lose weight, get more energy, right, and lean out. And I'm not going to go up to the 400-pound guy who's on the treadmill, who maybe is on the treadmill, or just a 400-pound guy. Man, you take this, you'll lean down to this, right, and he needs it, right? He needs it. I said, do you think he's my ideal customer? He's not, okay? You know who's my ideal customer for that product? The guy at the gym who's lean, who's running, has got a lot of energy. Because he wants more energy. Okay, He wants to be. Here's a man working. He's my ideal customer. So I can't chase people who need it. I got to go to people who want it. Right?
Exactly.
Big distinction.
It's huge. I was driving down the road, gosh, many, many years ago in a 1984 Honda Accord, listening to a cassette tape by a business philosopher named Jim Rohn. And as I'm cruising down Interstate 5 going south into San Diego, he says, when the why gets stronger, the how gets easier. Man, I almost had to pull over because that was so profound when I heard it, because it's really tapping into what is your why. Now, I know that motivational speakers and direct sellers and all those conventions, we all tap into that emotional why. But really, at the end of the day, it's that, when the why gets stronger, why are you in sales? Why are you an entrepreneur? Why are you a researcher? Why are you trying to cure cancer? There's a underlying why. And from the opposite standpoint, when I'm trying to do a discovery, I think I understand what you need, and I think I understand what you really want. But why is that so important? And again, when you can uncover the person's why, then at least you can marry that up to, do you have the right product or service that can help that? And if you don't, that's great. You can very quickly just move into building a relationship and moving forward. And then, of course, we've got every available tool to record this. We can take notes, we can put it on our pad, we can throw it into our CRM. But boy, if I can tap into that person's why and then remember it, follow up with them, come back 3 months later, the last time we got together, you just told me that this was really important and I wanted to follow up. How important is that now that it's been 3 months? Oh, it's even worse. Oh my gosh, what are you doing to help? Now we start moving into the pain, and yeah, we're into the sales process, but it's because we uncovered their why.
Yeah, we would do that in my gym. We'll call it selling the membership, right? So you ask them the questions or this, and they keep going, well, tell me more about that. Well, tell me more. And you kind of work your way down. And then, well, why do you want to do that? And they'll say this. You know what the final answer, the final why was, like almost 99% of the time? I just want to be happy.
Wow.
It was always like, I just want to be happy. So they're totally dissatisfied with themselves. They're not happy with themselves. But if you go down like 2-3 layers, the time you get layer 3 or layer 4, it's always, I just want to be happy. It was really interesting. I'm like, man, this is like a big deal, but you can't start it happy. That's the problem. Hey, you want to be happy? Come join my gym and suffer for 35 minutes a day.
Exactly. And you and I both share that commonality. I'm part of a gym membership at one of these national places, which is, I always call it the Disneyland of gyms, because it's a fantasy when you walk in. But to your point, Richard, when I'm looking at some of these people who lean out and who take these group classes and they get their heart rate to like a zone 4, why in the heck are you doing this? It's this happiness factor. And for them, it elicits joy when they can see themselves performing, and they probably have a story. Richard, you should have seen me 6 months ago. I couldn't even walk up the stairs. Look at me now. And wow, that's exciting.
Yeah, and for me, my whole life, it's always been the next story.
Oh.
I get fit, I do this, I achieve, okay, I take a little break. Oh, I got to get back into it, and I got to do it again. What am I doing? I'm hitting the bag, I'm rowing, I'm doing massive battle rope work. I'm like, look at me go, I am a little odd, Curt. I need to be the hardest working guy in the gym.
Okay.
Okay, and that's just so no one will talk to me. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I thought it was the headphones.
I don't even wear them, but you're right. And that's what you have to tap into. The feeling I get for exerting everything I have, leaving it all on the floor. That's my why, because that's in the morning to get done. It's like, this is a thing I have to do because how it makes me feel.
Richard, I wish every one of your listeners could hear what he just said, because A lot of what I do when I counsel and I coach sales pros is this sales motivation, because there's so many times that we lack it. We get 2 rejections on the phone, we get 6 rejections at the mall or whatever we're selling and however we're selling it. We just get that rejection, and then pretty soon I have no more happiness and I have no desire to leave it on the field. And then you start second guessing yourself and you move into desperation. And then now you got commission breath and everybody smells it and you're desperate for the sale. So you start cutting margin and cutting price and you're into this crazy cycle. And again, it requires us to really come alongside, both myself and Richard, come alongside you, listener and viewer, and say, hey, tap into why are you in this game? Why is it you chose representing this product or service? Do you believe in it? Do you believe that you believe in it, so that if you believe in it enough, then your prospect or your client or your customer will also believe in it?
Yeah, I agree, Curtis. And this is really important. I think this is a really, really, really important point. You can sell to sell, okay? That means you can pick up whatever you got and I can, hey, sell this glass of water to me, and do that. You can do that, or you can be into what you sell. That belief, that excitement, okay, that enthusiasm about what you do, and the understanding that if I don't sell this to you, your life is not going to be better. Okay, I'm going to make a difference because of what I have to offer you, whatever that is. You need that kind of depth of belief. I think in what you sell, like if I'm selling my workouts, I sell. I'm selling my coach, I sell. I am about the outcome. I'm always about the outcome of what I'm doing. What is your life going to be like if we go through this process? If you get this service, you get this product. I'm always looking out. You'll look. Here's the pain right now, and then here's what life's going to look like after we go through the process. You dip into my solution, we do it, and then it's sunshine and rainbows, baby. Or whatever. But that's how you got to look at it, because if you don't have that commitment, that belief that's that strong, because that comes through, like you said, commission breath, the desperation, you never make more than 1 or 2 follow-up calls if you make that many, and that's a whole topic in itself, but it's the drive isn't there. So I'd love to know how you've done this for a long time, okay, and then you're at what I consider a high professional, okay, which is high praise. It's a high professional. You've been in and out of the stuff, but what's it like to get someone to understand that alone? Just that commitment to the product or service.
You just touched on the word alone. Sales is a lonely game. Sales leadership is a lonely game. And so I really want to tap in on, you've got to have a band of brothers or a band of sisters that will rally around you during the low points. Sales is an emotional game. It's a people game. Sometimes it's economy. Sometimes it's market share. Sometimes it's performance of the product. Sometimes it's the phenomenal nature of the parent company or the phenomenal screw up of the parent company. There's so many variables that are out there that a sales pro could tap into and go quickly negative. And so I've got to tap into what can sustain you through that. And it's got to be another group of people. And that people group, maybe you're a sales manager or a sales vice president listening to this, what's the culture that you're creating for the people who report to you? Whether it's on a Zoom call or a conference call or you actually meet face to face, what is the culture that you guys are creating? Because everybody's going to be in different states of happiness or depression or frustration or quota attainment, but you've got to bring them all together for a common, hey guys, here we are. We're here together. It's Friday afternoon. What do we got going next week? How can we, when will, tell me? And you just use that management so that your funnel doesn't look like it's absolutely full of dust and spider webs.
Right. So let me ask you on this culture topic here. In your experience, you work with a lot of companies and different people and everything else. Who is actually in charge of writing, creating, designing, building this culture? Whose shoulders is that actually on in your experience?
That's a great question, Richard. My immediate feedback is that resides on the shoulders of the sales managers. At the end of the day, a manager manages sales. That's why their title is sales manager. They don't manage operations, inventory management, logistics, and shipping. They understand the game of sales. And part of that game is the KPIs, key performance indicators. It's the funnel management. It's the deal matrix. Some of it is the psychological makeup of the human beings that you are entitled to coach and direct and mentor. And so there's a lot of that management that has to do with people and a lot that has to do with process. And as a sales manager, you've got to have both. If you have no process and motivated people, you're swimming in a swim meet without lane lines.
Yeah.
If you've got 7 redundant lane lines and restricted people, well, then you've got a pristine pool that nobody can win in. So there's a balance between the two of those.
Yeah. So, and I'm with you on that. Here's what I find, and I found working with companies, because this is a little reality check. Sales managers are going to come and go. And I have a saying in business called everybody leaves. Okay. It's like at some time, 5 years, 5 days, 50 years, I don't care when it is, the first break of the day, they're gone. Well, whatever happens, right? That's going to happen. Again, you're back to a system, and you described it well. You've got to have lanes they can run in and win. They got to know what success is like in the day, the week, the month, the quarter, the year, right? All of this stuff is built out. So I'm just going to, it's kind of a company. It's a two-part. The company has to build this out, process systems, KPIs, all that stuff. Because we always like to put people into systems, not systems into people. So when we choose a sales manager, we're going to be able to drop them into the system that's established. But now you're probably looking more of a personality matchup part of that, because you're dealing with people. Like you said, the ups and downs and all that. So do you find that they have to have, I can't even kind of grasp the selection process of a good sales manager. You know what I mean? Because there's so many things they got to juggle. It's difficult.
I agree with you. And so I'm a big proponent on assessment work. I'm a big believer in the DISC assessment. I use the motivators. I use the emotional intelligence quotient. And that is a leg up. It's a little bit of a window into both the salesperson and the sales manager as it relates to what is the culture of the company that we've created. And again, once I know the culture of the company, and I might know a couple of the high-performing sales reps, what's their culture, how does that manager fit into that one? Because you're absolutely right. I could have a certain type of culture and the wrong manager. I could have somebody who's got a whole lot of hunter mentality, but the whole team is farmer mentality, or adverse. I've got a whole bunch of farmer mentality and I got a hunter pushing them out there. That causes a whole lot of angst. So it's true, the culture of the company and the KPIs and the processes and the people, this is all part of that group. And I'm saying, look, there's tools out there for sales managers, for leaders, for business leaders in assessment work that can help you attain or at least get a little bit of insight on the person. And then, of course, the sales manager has that same assessment matrix for their sales coaching and mentoring. There's a tool they can use that's objective and that can really help anchor some of those points.
Yeah, that's really good. What I want people to be kind of seeing is it's a little more complex than you think. Okay, a lot of times you're the owner. I have one I work with now, and he's the number one salesman. Okay, he knows everybody. He goes in and he stays in, he gets it done, and it's amazing. So this is going to be a little hack for everybody. So I'm like, well, you got to stop selling. We got a company to grow. Like you being out there, but these guys are no good. Yeah, I know, same old thing. I've heard it a million times. He goes, well, how am I going to do that? And I'm going to give him a little hack. Maybe you know this, but I said, okay, so it's 2025 here. I said, when you pull up to the job for the estimate, get your phone, put it in airplane mode, then hit voice record and stick it in your pocket and go do the estimate. And when you get done, you stop it. When you come back to the office, we're going to upload that in ChatGPT. And you're going to do that every time you do an estimate. And it's going to build an incredible sales process for you. It's going to start to see, it's going to learn 10 of these, 20 of these in 2 months. Okay, he'll have done 40 estimates, 50 estimates. We got a program that's duplicatable. Now we have a training system, and we've done it. It's amazing. Because, it's all about training. You can't do it by doing ride-alongs. Okay, they can help a little bit, but so to get an owner, so I'm speaking owners, right, trying to get you out of your own head, take your inner genius and literally put it into a platform, right? This is one way to do it. And it's really cool. And you couldn't do this 5 years ago. Okay, but now it's like you'd actually have to, you could record it, but then you got to transcribe it, then you got to build a platform, build a whole thing and stuff. So it's just one of those things that I've been trying to utilize these new tools to help these people sell better and to duplicate themselves. Because, man, an owner being the only salesman, that's a trap. That's the owner prison I talk about.
Absolutely. You tapped into something that everybody needs to understand is we're we're lucky in 2025. We have artificial intelligence and large language models. Everywhere I go, I show sales pros and sales managers how simple it is to create prompting that will differentiate on so many different levels. And all it requires is a little bit of understanding. And so you can ask better questions. You can do better research. You get a quicker SWOT analysis. If the defense is, well, Curt, it's really not accurate, blah, blah, blah. Fine.
No.
But in that nugget is going to be diamonds. There's going to be some consistency. And the more that artificial intelligence can learn you, your system, your process, your company, your product, the more it can tailor on the fly. And I tell you, most of the time when I'm in a workshop or seminar and I show this, sales guys are just shaking their head going, if I only had this. Well, not if, you have it now.
Last couple of days, Curt, so I did a thing with Chad, and I'm like, wow, that's really good. They got to know me. And today I come back and I go, I could easily run with that. Let's go a little deeper. And then I started to find, today it's like a year went by of thinking. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is unbelievable. Now I'll run with this. Yesterday was good. This is great. And it's a day. And then you think it's going to take all day, and it's an hour when you go slow. It's just, I'm telling you, like everybody listening, you're in these tools, embrace them, be the semi-early adopters, and they're going to make you just efficient, on point. You can ask it questions, analyze these things you got stuck on in the sales process. Bring it to it, man. Drop it in there at the end of the day. That's your after action report. Man, I did this and they said this. What would be some outcome? What would be some reversals on that? How to overcome these objections? And it'll give you a list of 10 things, like in 18 seconds. I'm like, it's a great learning tool.
It truly is. And it's your virtual sales manager, because sometimes you can take the information, put it in, and have it analyze and say, what did I do wrong? I lost this deal. And again, it's a two-way street with these tools. I can say to chat or OpenAI, I can say, ask me questions. And it'll ask, and then I'll record the answers, and then it'll learn me, and then it'll say, here's what I'm trying to do. What did I do wrong here? Did you ask this question? No, I didn't. Did you drill down here? And again, there's so many amateur sales pros out there who are getting lazier and lazier. And all we have to do is be 1% better. Ask a better discovery question, ask a better follow-up question, and that prospect or that customer is going to scratch their head going, wow, you really know my business. You really know me. Where do I sign? What can I do? And it's a conversation worth having.
It goes back to our beginning of our conversation about relationship. It's the old saying, no one cares how much you know till they'll know how much you care. You're digging into them. You're going, tell me more. You walk them down that path. You're starting to dig into the why. You're bringing all this stuff to the surface, and they're feeling like they've met a new friend. Like, it's sort of like, this guy gets me, man. It's really, if everyone's ever had that experience without the sales part, you just met somebody like you really, hit it off, and like we've been best friends for 10 years now, bumped into here. Like it's kind of that mentality in that sales process, not in a fake way, but like understanding where you're going, okay, before you get to the ask, right? It's like, how do we navigate this little journey here that might be 10 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever it might be to get to the point where I'm allowed to ask.
Exactly. And like I said, the relationship part, the fortune is in the follow-up. I know you and I are throwing all these cliches out to the listeners and to the viewers, but there is a true thread. There is fortune in the follow-up. Most people give up too early, or they don't use the tools that are out there. Please don't leave this call thinking, I'm just going to say, hey, I just want to touch base. Never say those words again. Never, ever, ever say those words again. You can get much more clever than I just want to touch base. Hey, I want to follow up on that quote. Hey, I want to. That's all about what you want. What is it that they want?
Amen.
Hey,
yep.
I saw this in an article. You said this was important the last time we got together. I want to put these two things together for you. You said this, you said that. When they realize that the purpose of the call is for them, not for the sales pro, you've got a relationship.
Yeah, this is not a cliche. It's a saying, but listening is a silent form of flattery.
Wow, that's a great saying.
I'm telling, like, and you know the old drill, whoever talks first or the most is going to lose the sale, right? You've got to, if you can listen and you can get open-ended questions, you mentioned that earlier, and then listen. And remember, it's active listening. Okay, I used to really suck at that. Okay, ask my wife. 26 years, podcasting made me a better listener, Curt. Okay, after a couple hundred episodes, I'm pretty good now. You know, I remember when she asked me to do something.
I go to now and I say, how can I improve my active listening skills in this scenario? Or I pack a giant question. How would you position blank to the plant manager of a chemical refinery in Deer Park, Texas, who has a high D behavioral style? The more you pack, the more your invisible sales manager will give you the answer. Now, that answer is custom tailored to a person's wiring, behavioral style, motivation, title, and how you connect those dots is nothing less than brilliance.
Right.
But it's just taking a step further down that road. You know, you keep mentioning health in the gym. The person who has 3 more reps in their workout, the person who does 3 more push-ups, 2 more sit-ups, that's all it takes. It doesn't take you to go out there and start bench pressing 400 pounds. No, it's the little steps, and it's the customization with the new automated tools that make you better.
Yeah, it's so true. And again, back to the point, you have to listen, though. You have to know he's a D and he's this and this and this. You have to, that's what, use the word discovery. That's what the discovery's about, okay? You've got to get this information so you can plug it in. You know, so again, and if you know that, hey, we're not here to close the deal per se, but we're to begin the process. So let me gather the intel, plug it into my system, ask it the right questions, have it ready for the responses. What's my next step? You know, what should I be seeing? Is it email? Is it in person? Is it on the phone? I've learned this stuff. Where am I going? And if I did, because I just did that today with one too. Okay, if I'm going to follow up via email, in person, okay, if I'm going to do this, give me the here, you could do this, this, or this. Option 1, 2, and 3. Now 3 is going to give you this, and number 1's going to give you this. So what are you looking for? And you just continue to break it down. And it's it's the proverbial kid in the candy store, Curt. I'm just smiling ear to ear. It wrote something about me yesterday, Curt, and it finished this final line. I'm just laughing. I'm leaning back in my chair because I'd never write that, but it's amazing. I'm and I just start just busting out laughing. And it did it, the usual 10, 15 seconds. I'm like, that's unbelievable. Just the whole thing I wrote. So I'm just telling everybody, you get into this, you're going to have some fun.
Yeah. And you and I are on the 10-yard line. And the football field is 6 miles long.
Right.
We're just starting this journey. And because we're talking about innovation and technology, it will leapfrog itself every 6 months. So what we're talking about today in the beginning of the summer of 2025 will be ancient by Christmas time. But if your listeners and if your viewers tap in like you have, Richard, in the way that you have expanded your own knowledge and confidence in tackling this, you become a better podcast host, a better communicator, a better relationship developer, a better active listener. And then your spouse gets excited about it, and happy house, happy spouse. It's just great.
Yeah. And the other thing too is, it's going to change, but you're going to change with it because it's going to be trickled now. It's not going to be here's this, and you don't even know where to begin, right? So if you start now and you get into it now, it's like anything. It's the whole internet story. Okay, from when it started, from whether it was from email or whatever, right? It's been a process, but now kids are building websites and doing whatever we're doing. We're building websites, platforms, and everything's changed, but now we just roll with it. It's not a big deal, and this is going to be the same thing. Yeah, there's going to be different outcomes and unintended consequences and all that cool stuff, but you take it now, you embrace it, you use it to your advantage, all for good, help you be a better salesperson, help you run a company better, help you talk to your people better, because I always share this. They did a comparison. They did a blind study with the AI doctor and a real doctor, and they asked them all the same questions, and then they had surveyed everyone. AI knocked that guy off the map for compassion, for empathy. Everyone chose the AI. They cared so much. They asked all the, just saying, go in, take those tools for yourself so you can be that person, right? Because it'll give it to you.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love it. I love it, Curt. So let's go to let's go kind of next level here on the sales. You have a lot of experience. You're even teaching at the university level, right? So actually, let's jump into that just for a minute, because, and I'm going to give you my own kind of viewpoint here. A lot of times in the collegiate realm, you're going to have these things they want to teach, right? And they've made a textbook and all this stuff, but we just talked about how things change in 6 months and 3 months and 3 weeks and whatever. It's got to be really, really difficult to stay current. And I have some real world examples of this from the marketing standpoint and stuff too. So now obviously you got feet in both pools, right? So you kind of get it. So you're probably, it's a total guess, you're probably an exceptional teacher, okay, because you can bring real world stuff into it, okay? But are you finding it difficult now at the speed things are changing to manage and teach, or what are you doing with that?
It really is, Richard. This class that we teach called Marketing Strategies at the University of Houston, it's an undergraduate class, but you need the sales class to get into the marketing class. We actually encourage the students to use AI because it's a marketing class, and marketing is all, it's squishy, it's fuzzy. We got the 4 P's of marketing, and that's about it. Maybe 2 other concepts, blue ocean versus red ocean.
Right.
But that's it. The rest of it is to the creativity of the person. And I do a lot of dialoguing and a lot of current things there. And of course, the beauty of marketing, it's like the weather. You can try it, it's going to fail. But failing's okay. You just don't do it a second time. You can be right about the weather and you could be completely wrong about the weather. So I love empowering the students to use that creativity. In the sales side, boy, it really just talks a lot about the whole game of selling, from sales to sales management to communication styles. And really these students at the university level, there's about 39 universities across the United States that have a regimented, structured sales development program. Multiple classes, 4, maybe 5 classes in sales, and they graduate with a certificate in sales in addition to their degree. So and then they can participate in sales collegiate contests, and it's a little different than what you and I first thought of it, but it is real world. I think my value is I bring 35, 40 years of sales
Right.
experience to the classroom, and I'm still young enough that the students see me as, okay, he's as old as my dad, but he's kind of cooler.
Yeah, so you got to be cooler at least.
I try,
That's
but I can't. I mean, I can only be who I can be.
Right. Yeah, I know. I get that totally. So, yeah, because I really look at it like as I work with people, and you're not going to learn everything in college anyways. You're really going to, it's a launching pad.
Yes.
It's just some basic foundational stuff, and then you got to go do the real deal.
Agreed.
That's why they call positions entry level.
Yes.
For the world out there. Okay. You're going to make less and you're going to do more until you're no longer entry level. Then you graduate to the new stuff, but there's a lot of skills. There's just too many that you can't do it in a small time period, right?
I agree. And so, sometimes college is a place where you learn a discipline that you can do the same thing for 4 years. Now, of course, in Europe, there's apprenticeships, and then, you get some hands-on trades in the trade world of HVAC and electrical. Yeah, you can come out of those places and wiring, HVAC, but you still are a entry level, because
Sure.
I'm not going to take a risk at you with my company or my business or my reputation if you just got out of college. I think tragically we brainwash our kids in college too much that says in 6 months you can be the senior vice president of sales, and in 12 months you can become the president of the company. And they all have that knowledge swirling in their head, and they're just not ready for it.
Yeah, I work with a lot of construction guys too, right? So custom home builders, and we're bringing these young people in from college or the trade schools or anything else too. But what I've said, what we've tried to do, Curt, is we've really tried to build out their path. So like during the hiring process, well, this is what it's going to look like. So there's no confusion, there's no mystery. It's like you're going to be here for this amount of time, then you're going to do this, then you're going to learn this, you'll be over here. Oh, by year 3, you're going to be here. So probably by year 5, you're going to be able to be in this position, making this much and everything else if you follow this path. But this is what we have laid out for you. So if that looks good and you want to go through this journey, so in month 2, they're not asking for a $15 an hour raise because they think they're wonderful. okay, because they have a overinflated self-worth, as so many people do, but they understand the path now. And if you just do that, that's just okay, and then they actually learn all the stuff they need to learn. Now you reach that 3 or 5 year point, you've got a highly skilled, highly valuable team member who can do a lot for the company and probably isn't going to leave.
Mm-hmm. Good point.
So I think a lot of people kind of skip the structure part of that. They're just bringing guys in. It's the old warm body, fog and mirror kind of thing. We had that for a while when we were real short, but it's like now you really got to think about this. We got to understand who we're bringing on the team, and in sales especially. You talked about follow-up before, the fortunes in the follow-up. The old stat, I think they're still same stats, like 90% of all salespeople don't make more than 3 follow-up calls.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
But the close happens on the 4th to 15th call.
Exactly.
Average 7, 8, 9. So learn that. So what happens is 10% of the salespeople make 90% of the money. Think about that. Which one do you want to be? You need to make the follow-up calls. I did that. I built a whole thing on paid leads and follow-ups, and then we learned how to automate it right. And again, we get into all that another time. But the tools now to automate all that stuff and do it for you so you can hit those numbers and get those people. Because I had a roofing contracting business. So I always told people, too, my sales guys, I'm like, listen, no one needs a roof today. Do you understand? They're calling because they ran out of bread at home or something. I got to go get some milk. I go, it's a rub. It's going to be a $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 expenditure. They're not excited about spending it. They don't want you to run over and you give them a big check, right? So you have to understand where they're at. So even if they put in they know they made a call and you got a lead, they got 97 other things that are more important than talking to you.
Yeah. Wow.
And you have to understand this ain't personal. They'll get to you eventually. Okay, but and I've had it on the call 17. I've called for 3.5 weeks. But guess what? I got the job. This is a $24,000 job just because I made phone calls. That's just how it is.
I felt that way yesterday when I was at home. I was working from home and I got a knock on the door at 1:45 in the afternoon. Door-to-door roofing company. I'm like, gosh, I just hate to tell you this, but I'm just not going to motivate myself to a $20,000 investment because somebody knocked on my door.
Yeah,
in a
insurance.
no soliciting neighborhood.
Yeah.
There's just it's tough. There's a grind out there, and I understand that one. And I'm sure there's a massively successful group of people who are doing door to door. It's just there's a place for everyone. And again, everything could require a little bit more sales training in order to understand that some of this is a numbers game. Some of it's more of a work smarter, not harder game. And like you said, Richard, there are so many tools out there today in 2025 that allows us to work smarter, to really hone in our ideal customer profile and go after those people and really kind of connect quicker and then follow up.
Yeah, it's like never before. It's not, we're making giant leaps, Curt. This isn't a little improvement. It's light year jumps. You really look at these and go, that's why I'm not an early adopter guy, okay? But now I'm, in AI, I'm considered early adopter now, but I finally realized, no, I can't wait on this because what it can do for my clients, the benefits I can bring to the people, I'm like, this is like, I'm Santa Claus, man, with a big old bag on my back, and I'm like, you got to check this out. You know what this will do? This is a 5-figure increase just by employing this simple system this year. And that's just the start, right? So you look at that and sure enough, you put it in, you're not missing calls anymore. And because listen, I got a tree guy. Hey, trees fall down every day, every minute of the day. There's a branch falling off somewhere. And usually it's on someone's house. Okay? And when they call at 1 a.m. on Saturday night and someone actually answers the phone and walks them through the questions and sets the appointment, that's your job. That's an $8,000 win for you that you were going to wait till Monday to call them back, would never even get them to answer the phone because they've already got it taken care of. Yeah. Right? So I'm like, these tools, they matter. Yeah, they are so powerful now. This is not an answering machine. Okay, this is I could spend a whole time talking about that. It's so good. I love recovering lost money. I love fixing holes in the bucket because they're running and gunning. They're not thinking this way. They're not at a little higher view where they understand the tools that can, for small investments, can help them keep big money and capture more.
Good point.
I love it.
Great point.
Have you been in the in the sales arena, let's take we'll talk about the last few years. Any like significant shifts you've been seeing, whether it's from the teaching standpoint or how people are executing, and I'm talking a little more, not subtle, but a little more like kind of earth shaking. Like, is there any big shifts you've seen, or is it kind of still going the way it's been going?
I think we just got out of the period of crappy, just spray it and pray it, emailing and all that technology. It was great for a while, and we get lists of 5,000 people and we blast it all out there. We're moving back to a more of a personalized digital world where I think direct mail or direct email or those kind of tools are still valid in certain areas as long as you personalize these things. That doesn't mean you're always going to get the response you're looking for. There's a higher probability that it'll linger in their mind if it's a little bit more personal. And we've got all the technology to make it personal, whether it's personal postcarding and direct mail or personal emailing, or even using some AI to find out their profile on LinkedIn and then be able to craft an introductory email based on what they know about this and such. I think that seems to be a movement that's evolving back to a good place. But it'll be a temporary, Richard, before something else is going to replace that. And tragically, it could be this generic AI-generated email, which just gets back to, just roll your eyes.
I'm hoping, because AI has an ability to learn, okay, I'm hoping it's actually going to get way better. Whatever it is right now today, it's going to continue. Because it's going to adjust, and it's going to truly track numbers. Right, you're going to have real data, you're going to input, so it'll split test like no one's business, right? It'll do all this stuff and get this. That's my hope. But I love to hear that it is the pendulum swinging back, because I never liked that mass email. It's a numbers thing, and it just was cold. I mean, it gave a whole new name to cold email.
Yeah.
It's just cold. There's nothing good about it. Like, does this? And this is a good and bad side for me in business, was like, I never thought that was a good idea. So I don't buy into it. So I could have lost because of that, because I didn't buy into it. I know people made money, things make money. But at the same time, I'm like, I try to find a different way, Curt, to like, how do I reach the people? I am that individual email guy. I'm like, personalize this, it's a reach out, it's something like that, So I always try to hold on to that, because I saw that work. We've been around long enough where we've seen everything was about service, right? It's all about the service, man. It was all about the best of the best. The 90s was like rock bottom prices. It was box stores. It was all this stuff, right? Everything was about rock bottom prices. Service went up in the crap. Okay, I'm like, well, I love service. I'm a service guy, so then all through the 90s and the 2000s, as I was building my water feature business, I'm like, I was bringing that high level of service, high-end artistic thing. And there's always that niche. That's always there. Don't get me wrong, So I'm never a mass guy. I need to sell to a gazillion people. I really niche. I understand who I serve. But like I said, it's gone back and forth. We've seen, even with COVID, there's a big swing and a shift in how people were doing things and everything else, and that's coming back. People are realizing they need to come back to the office. They need to be around other people. And from us salespeople, we understand the power of the room. You can't replace the power of being in the room with someone.
Agreed.
Or a group. It's just, and if you don't believe that, well, come to one of our events.
And that goes all the way to the generation of a quote. I mean, if you're emailing a quote for $10,000, and you have the ability to what you said, Richard, the power of the room. If you have the ability to make an appointment to present your proposal face to face, you can respond to the objection on price right in front of them. Otherwise, it's going to go to Harry, who goes to Jimmy, and it goes over to Alex. Alex gets it and goes, "What is this?" "Hey, it's a quote from this guy for 10 grand. "Well, we don't have any money." "Tell him no."
Okay, this was totally unsolicited. You said all my favorite things in one couple sentences, and I love it, because I have a standing order with all my contractors. You don't ever email a quote. Like, if you do, I find out, I will come down to where you live, okay, and I'm going to darken your door, okay? You present. Okay, they can't attach value. You send them a quote, they're going right to the bottom line, 10,000. And then Curt here sends them an estimate that says 9,300. Guess who they're going with? Curt, because all they can base it on is the number.
That's right.
They don't know what half the stuff, even if you line on them, they don't know what that stuff is. You got to walk them through. What I do with my people, I'm like, okay, you're there, you're doing the estimate, you're looking at everything, maybe you're measuring. Okay, right then, you set the estimate review time, the presentation.
Yes, of course.
You don't leave this house without saying, okay, what we got next Wednesday, 27th? Is that a good day for you, 3 o'clock? I can be here and we'll walk through this whole thing. I'll have the numbers for you. You'll be good to go. That's good. Excellent. All right. Put that in your calendar. I'll send reminders to you. I'll get the whole thing. I'll totally keep you abreast of everything, high communication, and you go. Now there's two advantages to that. One is you're going to be sitting in front of them and presenting your estimate. The other thing, now you got to get that sucker done. Okay, because a lot of these guys will put that off to the side like, I have a date. I got to have that thing done, which causes you to create a real system.
And
right?
And again, whether it's a contractor or something of that nature, now that I'm back doing the presentation with the estimate, I have some kind of a device that I just have to tap your credit card for a secure down payment. Even if it's $50, it doesn't matter. You're committed financially to what you said you're going to do. And if you have to make a negotiation on price, you're there in their home. And if they say, wow, I don't think the insurance will cover more than $8,500, whatever it is,
yep,
you've got it. You're there. You don't have to go to the next step or the next step. And tragically, that happens to me, where you get some HVAC work done and then they're going to send you the invoice afterwards. And now I still haven't seen it. So now I'm the customer. I have to call the guy back going, look, I want to pay for the service, but why do I have to tell you to send me the invoice?
right.
This stuff is just, why are we working so hard on the wrong thing? Well, you said it in the beginning of this thing. You're doing, you're right on all the wrong things.
Yeah. Yeah, I did a roof estimate for a woman. Show up, spend an hour I got my Eagle View measurements. I didn't even have to get on the roof really good. Close the deal. Okay, it's about 45 minutes at the table. I've got a check, $20,000 roof. I got a $10,000 check in my hand. We're walking out to my truck. Her garbage can's out there in her mailbox. She opens her mailbox, right? We're chatting. She pulls out. She goes, "Oh, look, it's an estimate from a roofer who came out 2 weeks ago." And I go, "I guess you don't need that." She goes, "You're right." She just opened the garbage can and threw it in there.
Bam. Yeah.
And you're like, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
There's 7 elements to a roof. How do you not give an estimate on site? Why are you leaving and then not even get it back? $20,000.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm just like, I don't get that. I'm like, so again, you understand why I'm very adamant about that.
Yes.
But the in-person, we're there to serve.
Exactly.
If you don't close the deal, if you don't get that done, they got big. Like we talked earlier about the roof, it's the least important thing, though it's really important. It covers one of their largest personal investments. But get it off their plate. When you do get the time with them, take that off their plate. Let them go worry about the 96 other things they were already worried about.
Mm-hmm.
They don't need to worry about you. There's that belief and that mindset, right? Go in like that and take that off their plate, then you don't care what the other 96 things are. You're going to take care of the roof.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's good stuff. Curt, this has been awesome. I love it. I'm ending all keyed up. I'm going to have to go work out just to mellow out. Okay, so this has been fantastic. Curt, how can people get in touch with you, follow you? You know the drill.
Yeah.
Give us something.
Real simple, Richard. My website's Peak Sales Strategy. It's all one word, Peak Sales Strategy. I have my Gmail out there. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm the only Tueffert out there. I'm on Facebook. I love to pay it forward. If any one of your listeners or viewers has a question, they can always hit me up, and I'd be more than happy to bounce some ideas off of them. That's what we're doing. We're just iron sharpening iron as one person sharpens another. That's what we want to do.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it, Curt. I knew this was going to be awesome. We've brought just a ton of value to the show. I can't thank you enough. This has been great. This is worth all the effort.
You bet.
Another home run on STS.
Excellent.
All right. And for everyone else, we'll see you on the next STS podcast. Thanks for tuning in to Sharpen the Spear podcast. If today's episode helped you think sharper, act smarter, or see new profit potential, do me a favor. Share it with a fellow home service owner and leave a quick review. Ready to find the profit hiding in your business? Head to sharpenthespearcoaching.com and book your free profit discovery call today. And until next time, keep sharpening.